Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And you might be saying, what is this? Why has the battle not begun yet? You usually start your commentary after the first 30 seconds. And that's because this video is going to be focused on some of the things that players say, especially at the start of the battle, that might have an effect on not only their own mentality, but also the team's mentality, right? So what kind of things do you usually read in World of Tanks that now you can only say to your team? Things like what the T-34-100 is saying now, matchmaking for the third time in a row, wargaming. Okay, now everyone, has a little bit of a rant, has a little bit of a vent. Sometimes that can be quite healthy to do, and sometimes you can feel like you're cursed, and as long as you don't allow that to cloud your judgment, that's fine. But now, what the M103 says is just rather absolutely and utterly fantastic. The M103 says, today, 19 lost battles, 5 wins, ... Okay, so let's just think this through. So already we could, as players on the M103's team, we might be thinking, oh, well, we've got a bit of a loser on our team, right? Is he going to play a bit aggressively? Maybe he's tilt. Why has he lost 19 games and won 5? Surely that can't just be bad luck if you have played so many rounds of World of Tanks, right? What you need to ask yourself is, saying things like that to your team, is it ever going to be able to help the situation? What do you think is going to happen? Is your team suddenly going to go, oh, well, we've got to definitely win this one, guys, because that M103 is having a real rough time today, right? Now, I don't think that people are going to try any harder to try and just give you an extra win. You're part of the team, and hopefully people are going to work together and come together to win as a team, right? They're not going to try extra hard to win the game for you because you're having a rough day, I guess. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's exactly what people do. But at least for me, when I see people already almost predicting defeat or having, a defeatist attitude, and especially then distributing that to the players on their team, I just really don't think that that is ever going to help. What would be a far better thing to do would be to maybe discuss where you're going to go in the battle, maybe try and take a look at the teammates in some more detail, try and see how your tanks match up to the enemy tanks, to try and be a bit more productive than just having a good old whinge. But I guess if it makes you feel better, right? Maybe that's exactly what's happening. So we're playing in the Type 59 pattern here, and we're playing on steps, and we're playing on an encounter. And how many of you guys know how frustrating it is on encounter when your team goes straight down the west and the enemy team goes straight towards the cap circle? An encounter can be, should we say, a very deceptive, sneaky map. You can quite often think that you have far longer than you actually do to be able to get back to the cap circle to be able to interrupt it. For example, right now, even though we know there are 3 tanks over towards the east, it says that it's got 3 minutes, or at least it was saying that we have 3 minutes to be able to get over. Then you think, oh, I've got enough time to do what I want to do, right, for 3 minutes. And then suddenly now there are 3 tanks in the cap circle with a minute left. But I've already decided, like a bull to a red flag right now, that I am going to get some kills in this game. So I want to advance, put one into the side of the Lerva. I can't quite decide whether I want to shoot the Lerva or the artillery here because I really don't like getting hit by artillery. But I finish him off and now turn my attention to the Su-14-1, pick up a couple of kills, and then I think about going after the E-75, and then I realize, he's dead anyway, there's no point. Time to make my way over towards the cap circle. And, do you know, I'm not really going to be able to make it in time, am I? I'm not going to be able to make there. And so effectively, my greed in killing the Lerva and going after the artillery has probably completely destroyed my chances of being able to win this game, or at least being the player who's going to be able to win this game, right? But lo and behold, guys, you remember that M103 who was saying that he's lost 19 games and won 5 today? Well, he has had enough of losing, that is for sure, as he makes his way in. 4, 3, 2, 1... What a hero. What an absolute hero. Do you know what? This was one of my favorite moments in World of Tanks in absolutely ages. That a player who's been almost, at least in my opinion, completely negative at the start of the battle, whining about how, I guess he's suggesting that he thinks that his team has lost him all of those games, now does an absolute hero push sacrifices his entire tank to be able to get into position and interrupt the cap circle. And so then that allows me, i.e. greedy unicorns who wanted to go and get themselves kills and not go and protect the cap circle, to make it back in time and start the interrupt. Now I know I'm getting shot in the side by a T-32 here, but there's pretty much nothing that I can do about that, considering I've got so many friends that are likely to be able to take him out soon. I just completely ignore him and instead focus on interrupting the cap circle, taking out this T-69 and the IS-6. So from here on, it's not really any fancy stuff. I'm just dealing with these guys on the ridgeline. But I really cannot fathom how awesome and incredible this round was, at least for me. For this M103 just pushing in and saving the cap after having, at least in my opinion, such an incredibly negative attitude at the start of the game. And I think, at least for me, I can learn a hell of a lot from this replay, and in retrospect watching it back, both with regards to my greed, that I just wanted to go and get a little bit extra damage and get a few kills, and surely my team on the other flank will be able to get the interrupt off, right? Or alternatively, being the kind of player who has evidently had a very rough day, but not allowing that to affect him, getting stuck in and completely sacrificing his tank, all of his interests in the game, to be able to win it for his team. So that was absolutely awesome. So while this was my first mark of excellence on the 59 pattern, and we made 62,000 credits profit and nailed ourselves a whopping amount of base experience, 1,192, great crew training there. Do you know what? Sometimes nice guys finish last in World of Tanks. Can you believe it that this M103 finishes second from bottom with 512 base experience points, despite the amount of damage that he did and the 55 base defense points? Do you know what? That feels completely unfair, that frankly the player on our team who was the most valuable player and undoubtedly won it for us finishes so close to the bottom near an AMX who did pretty much nothing in the battle. And so Milko0501, despite not being rewarded in-game for your heroic efforts, I'm going to try and make it up to you a little bit, buddy. I'll send you a bonus code which has an Excelsior on it, a garage slot, and a day of premium. And just a massive thank you to you. I don't even know if you watch my content out there, but honestly, watching this replay really was one of my favorite things that I've seen in World of Tanks in months. And so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel out. And also let me know in the comments what are some of the most constructive and also destructive things you can say to your team in World of Tanks. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.